After this, we are left with the post method. And once we complete the post method, then we can publish this to our API portal. Okay. So yeah, you're saying something?
For user testing, right?
Yes, for user testing.
Yeah.
So we will be done with our the API spec. So we will continue doing post method now, or like you want a 10 minutes break?
Yeah, we can have a break.
Okay.
5 to 10 minutes break.
Yeah, we will start again by 10:15. We can start. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'll pause the recording.
Sure. Yes, Kumar, I'm back.
Okay, so we can start now for the next 45 minutes we'll do. So till now we have completed our code for flights resource method, which includes the get, and we are giving the query parameter response and getting the flight everything. We also completed our nested resource ID, and we have completed the get method, and we saw how our ID is working. Now the third thing which we don't.
Before we move on, I just have one question.
Yes.
So I know that the ID method is to get one particular flight, right? It's basically a URI parameter. And the above one is to get all the flights,
correct.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, that is correct.
So
like
suppose I have suppose I have a hotel and I want to search by one particular hotel, so I will have the same structure, right? I will have, instead of flights, I will have hotel.
Exactly, hotel.
I will also have ID parameter.
Yeah, you can just instead of ID, you can just give it a name of the hotel. Okay, and it will be searching your name. So don't have to give exact ID or something. You can define your own URI parameter.
Okay. So this nested parameter should come under the root. Suppose I have flight and I want to search by all flight, I will have one get method to search all flights. And then if I want to search by one particular flight, then I will have ID method, right?
Yes.
So likewise, I will have a hotel. I will have the same set of.
Exactly. So this nested thing is not like a hard code rule that you have to have a nested here. Only if it's a URI parameter, then it has to be under a resource. Like you can't pass any point mulesoft.com/hotel name, right? It will not give you.
Oh yeah.
So it has to go to some main resource, and under that resource, suppose you are querying a database, right? So you have to have select star from table. Okay, so without that selecting a whole table, select star from some table, and then you give a filter condition where ID is equal to 1. So if you remove that table name only, then you can't just start a select star where ID is equal to 1, where it will do it. So that is why we are giving a parent method where all the flights are there. Inside that, we have to find a single ID. That is the use case of this.
Okay. So if that, I'm thinking about the execution. Suppose I give my my makemytrip.com
Mhm.
/flights and then /ID, right?
Right.
So when I give ID, then it is first going to get all the flights. It will go to
Mhm.
that root method, I mean root
Yeah.
resource, flights resource.
Yeah.
It will keep all the informations ready on the memory,
Mhm.
and then it will go to the ID method to filter, to apply a filter based on the input parameter I give,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So it is always going to execute the flights first and then goes to ID.
Correct. Correct. So
Okay.
this is like how we will be thinking that how it's going to happen. Okay. But in the coming sessions where we are implementing it, you will see like how exactly it is happening. Okay.
Okay.
So have some like 2, 3 more classes, and then we'll be able to implement. So things will be more clear. Okay. Generally, people will not understand this
And
API
now
spec.
it's kind of
I understand.
yeah.
It's not, you are
Now
trying to figure out the points, right? But many questions and doubts will be there, right? What exactly we are doing. I understand that, but according to my like previous experience, I have seen like you are getting all the points till now. Like most of the things you are getting it.
yeah.
People will not have any idea like why actually we are doing it, and many people will just attend this session and then they will be in a fear that MuleSoft is a little complex and things. So many of the people and even my juniors, while going through this training, they will leave after this. Okay.
Okay.
Even they had gone to the training which the MuleSoft is providing, a 5-day training.
Mm-hmm.
So even in that time, they were very like doubtful and they were not interested after this session. So we
Oh,
had an idea to just skip this session in the initial classes and then directly go to implementation. But still,
okay.
I thought it will be good idea if you understand it. Then it is very clear if you understand the specs.
Yeah, yeah. This
Okay,
is basic, right? Unless we understand the
exactly,
basics.
exactly. And this is
Now
just one module. Yeah,
yeah, now I'm kind of clear what we are trying to do. I'm able to understand what is the use of the example thing
hmm,
and how to import any libraries you have.
yeah,
Then you can reuse it here,
hmm,
and how to send back the response with what information you want to send, what format you want to send. Okay.
exactly.
The only thing is the type.
Type. Yeah, yeah, type is
Uh,
little confusing here. That it's basically the data type we configure. Even if you have worked with databases, we give that when we are creating a table, we give the data type, right? So it's kind of that
yeah,
only, what the data
yeah,
type is.
I get that point.
Mm-hmm.
We have that subtype kind of thing, right? Like
Hmm.
we have nested type.
Yeah, yeah, this one
So
you are
you,
saying.
yeah.
This one.
So here, the first line number 3
Hmm.
type is the type of that
Object.
object. I mean,
Hmm.
type of that variable. Let me try to. I'm just trying to understand
Hmm.
with the knowledge what I have in the other languages,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm quite familiar with the PL SQL thing. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to, I know the PL SQL record types, table type, all those things are object
Hmm.
type, all those things are there. So when we say type is the type of the variable, which is going to be object,
Yeah.
right? For which I am defining the properties. Properties is nothing but what are all the
Key
individual
classes.
variables
Hmm.
it is going to have, like
Right.
employee number, name, date of birth, salary, all those things. So that is what is going to be the property, right? So under which, if I have, for example, location,
Hmm.
right? So the location will be bifurcated with state,
Yeah.
district, city,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Right.
So that is what you mean
We are
here
doing it
as a
here.
plane.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's a perfect
Okay,
example. Yeah.
so for that plane object, you are mentioning as type as this is going to be an object type,
Hmm.
and you say required is not, it is not required,
Hmm.
for which the properties are what is the data type of that,
Yeah.
and I mean the type and the total seats are like individual variable names. So the type, what I got
Correct. This is
confused is why
confusing.
we
Yeah.
are saying type in many areas, right?
Correct. This is
So
confusing. Yeah, I can understand this point. If it was given something else, that type of plane,
then
then it will
that
be
would have become more
more
easy. Yeah.
understanding. Yeah, yeah. That the thing is, we can't. This is read-only file, so we're not able to edit this.
Okay. Okay.
And I want to go with this, like what MuleSoft has provided. I want to go through that training only because it is covering all details in depth. Okay, we
Okay.
can try to make a new project, but I'm sure like we'll not be able to cover the whole depth which this thing is covering. Okay, even like when I completed this training, there are few things which I haven't used in my project till now, which I did it here. Okay, so that is how in depth this training goes into. And I'm sure now that if I give you any of the API spec, and you'll be able to figure out what that API spec is going to do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
70,
Now, yeah.
80%, maybe few security traits and few things you'll not be able to, but I think you can manage, right? All the
Yeah.
things.
Now, yeah. If you give me some spec,
Mhm.
if it is going to be very complex or which
Yeah,
we have not seen some of the
the few
specific,
traits like security traits and
yeah,
other things are there.
yeah, so which I
Mhm.
may not be able to understand, but
Mhm.
in general,
You'll
I
be
am
able
able to
to.
understand
Correct,
RAML file structure. This is how
correct,
it is going
correct.
to be. We may be
So,
adding a new parameter or new
mhm,
attribute to that parameter, like required true or false or whatever it's giving.
mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, that's what it looks intimidating, but it's very user friendly if you once learn it in 1 or 2 hours and then. So yes, we will move on to our post method. So generally this will not happen in real case scenario. We'll not be able to post a new flight, but as we are admin of this uh, API, we will have that capability. Like if you are rolling a new flight from a new destination, so in that case, we have that capability to post a new flight, right? As a
Okay.
end user, we won't be able to, but as flight administrator, we will be able to.
Yeah.
So what is different in get and post? You will come to know what is different. In get, we are just giving the query parameters and then we are getting a response. But
Yeah.
post, you will have to get a body, right? Anything you are posting, right? So there should be an input from the user.
Yeah.
So
What are
this is
all the
how,
flight name and
yes,
all those
exactly,
things.
exactly. So see now I'm not able to see my shelf. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the arrow which you will be using to just get the shelves. This is very like not in the right place, so people might miss it sometimes.
Can you show me somewhere how did you get that?
Yeah. So now I'm not able to see, right? So
Yeah.
this is one arrow where you'll able to see the shelf. You just press
Oh,
and you
okay,
see
okay,
the
okay,
shelf.
okay.
And one more thing is there, the project errors. If you go here, you'll see the project errors error. So initially when you design, you will see many things, but yeah, when you go on and doing, it will be easier.
Yeah.
So yeah,
These are all
so
small things which
yeah,
we
yeah,
need to know.
correct, correct. And this things will not, we not don't get it like if you search it where that how I'm getting
Exactly.
error, right?
Yeah.
So that is the
You know,
one-on-one training helps.
I got stuck when I attended the OIC training with Prasad.
Hmm.
So he was showing me similarly, you know, where we define an integration and then we also define the scope, like error handling kind of thing.
Hmm.
When I was practicing, I was not, I went into the scope handling section, but I was not able to come back
I
to the
get, yeah,
original thing. Then I had to wait until next day class and I asked him, and then he showed me there
correct.
is a tiny left
Tiny
arrow. You
error.
just click that,
Mhm.
it will take you back.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. This is a small things. Like even I have got stuck with this. Like I thought like it's not working for me, then got figured out like that. This is a small error which is not coming up. Okay.
okay.
So yeah, we'll define the post method and then like in get method, we were directly defining our query parameters and then responses. But instead in post method, we have to define a body. Like we can't directly get the response. First, we have to define the body. So this is the difference between post and get. So our body should be application JSON. And then again, what type of things it will be, like what kind of data type. So we will again give the type, and again it will be American flight. So we are not posting like 5-6 flights at a time. We are posting one single flight, so that's why I've given it American flight.
And you don't have to give the square bracket, right?
Yeah, because we are not posting
Green card.
not giving that capability to post 10 flights at a time. We will be posting single flight at a time.
But it
Okay,
is
that's why.
also possible, right?
It is possible.
Suppose.
It is possible. It is exactly possible. But right now, for this example, we're not using. That's why I have not given.
Okay.
Okay. So next is examples. Again, examples. In this time, we will, as we are giving as an input, so it will make sense to just provide as input. So these are not keywords. It's just I am defining on my own. So that's what this good best
Oh,
practices.
input output is not a keyword.
I don't think it's a keyword. It can give anything.
Oh,
Okay, because it's a name under the examples, right? It's not that. Let's try for some other word. Light one. Okay.
yeah, it still
So
accepts.
we are not getting any errors. So it's not a keyword. Okay, so let's keep it with flight one
Yeah.
only. Okay.
But giving as input will be more meaningful, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I had given for
because
input.
you are getting the information from the
Right.
user.
So now what we have to do is we have to give the input of the flight which we'll be posting, right? So if you see, we don't have any example like that. Okay, we have this example, but this is containing ID. And if you are posting a flight, it should not contain an ID because the database should define that what the ID should be. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
we can't use this one. So what we will do is we will create a new one, new file, and we'll just give it as a flight, American flight ID, something like that. Okay, and what we will do is we will copy this code, paste it here, and remove this ID.
Yeah, ID is the internal value.
Yeah. So this is done. Now we
But
will.
how it will identify which ID has to be updated?
Yeah, that will be
I
our
mean,
implementation part.
oh, post is just going to create a new record, right?
Correct. It will just create
Then
a new
ID will
record.
be generated automatically.
ID will, yeah, that we can check in our implementation part. The complex logic we will try to address in the implementation part. The whole idea is to just roll this out within a week or two when we get an requirement. So
Okay.
we try to avoid things which takes more of coding and implementing. Okay. So we will just copy the path here. Again, we'll go to our main root file. So you just make sure that you're not getting stuck in this folder. So that's why we just
Minimize it.
close it out, minimize it, and then we can work on this root file. So it will always have a root file. So sometimes it looks the same, right? So people will just paste it somewhere and they will not realize. So people will come to me and they say that I'm getting this error. So it will take some time to figure out that they have done a mistake and I'm not able to paste it here. That's why, but normal project you'll be able to, right? So that's why always minimize out and keep a root file. Okay, so in input, I will just include, use the include part and paste the example. So now I'm referring to this example, American flight ID example. Okay. So my post part is done. That what I will be posting. Let's see if it is reflecting yet. So this is my flights and this is the post. So if you see, media type is application JSON and input we are able to see, right? So there are different views, table view and source view. You can check any view, whichever you're familiar with, and you can see. Okay. So this is the example that the code will be this, the price, departure date, origin, and this kind of things will be there. And again, this is the data type which we are seeing. Okay. So this is completed, but what we have completed is the post thing. But we still have to get our response, right?
Yeah, whether it is posted or not.
Yeah. So we will come to the response section, responses. Again, it is a post method, so we will make it as a 2 not 1 response. And then again, we have to give the body. What will the body will? Application JSON. And this time we want to give, suppose if you are just doing a post on that you have posted this flight. So you should get a message like, yeah, the flight is posted. So that is why I'm using example, and I'm just giving an output, and I'll just give a string that flight added. And inside that, I'll just mention that it's not happening really, just mocking it. So just this makes sense, that flight added, but not really. Okay. Otherwise, maybe people will get confused, right? That it gets getting added or something. So that's why, just for user's sake. So this completes our whole API spec.
Why there is a gap between
Okay,
post and
yeah, I just had given a gap. You can remove.
Oh, okay. We can
remove
remove it.
Yeah, the gap will not make any difference in the RAML part. There's no issue with that, but yeah. So we'll come to our summary part. So if you see, this is the endpoints. We have flights, we have get post in flights, under flights. We just defined the post one. We will go and just try it. Okay, so you can see the example also now, right? Output. We will just try it. So you will be able to see that our this is the input body. It is showing, right? This is what we are sending. Okay, so we will send it.
So we will also
we
get
got
the response.
201 output flight added, but not really. Okay. Okay, and we will do one more tweak right now. Okay, so we will go back to our which is the type. So we are using this American flight in this post here, right? I'll come back to the post method. Just concentrate on this post method. I'll show you one more thing, that in type American flight, if we go to the type American flight data type .raml. So if you see empty seats, all these things are what you say, required values, right? Because we are not giving a required false. By default, it will be required true. Okay. So
we are giving
seats,
required false only for type and total seats.
Yes. Not for total seats, only for type, only for plain type. If you are using the plain type, then you have to give this, because this is the object is not required, but inside that object, these keys are required. If you are providing the object, the keys should be required.
I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, and I'm understanding your doubt that you are saying that, okay, we'll start from the beginning. This is one object, plain. Okay, it has type object and it is required false. So forget about the properties. So first of all, we are making this plain object as not required. Okay. And if it is if you are providing a value, so in first case, there will be option that yes, you can give the value of plain, or you don't want to give the value of plain. Okay. But when we are defining the plain value, under that you have to be defining all the values. Okay, it's not like that you will provide type and you will not provide total seats, because these are required values. I'll show you in the example what exactly I mean. So this is a plain, right? So what you can do is you can remove the whole part. Okay. If you remove the whole part, still this will work. Okay. But if you remove the type, if you're giving plain and if you're removing the type and you're giving total seats, then it will not work, because we have made our plain as not mandatory. But inside plain, we have made this two fields mandatory. It will make sense, right? That if you are providing a plain, you have to provide the type and the total seats.
Oh, okay, got it. So plain, you have type Boeing. Suppose if you don't give any plain, then
It will work.
It is the whole thing is not mandatory. I mean, the plain object is not
Not
mandatory.
mandatory.
But
Yeah.
if you choose a plain, then the type and the total seats are mandatory.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, because this is defined in this way, in the data type only.
But in the post method, are we specifying the plain?
Yeah, we'll see that. Let's go to the post method. Yeah. So here in our input, we are specifying the plain type. Okay. So that is what I was trying to show you, that suppose if we remove a field here, then what will happen? So I'm going to remove this field first, the empty seats field.
But
Okay.
that is required as per the specification,
Correct.
data
Yeah.
specification, right?
So I'll
Because
just
it
show
is
you what will happen if I remove this. Let's see where I can remove this. I have to try this. Let me try it. Okay, now I'll first remove this one because this is a little easier. So let's remove this and then send a response, then send a post. So you will see bad request. Code request validation error, message invalid schema for content type application, required key empty seats not found. So this was required, that's why it is throwing us an error. I'll just paste it again and I'll try to remove this part.
the entire plane.
Yeah,
it will still work.
yeah. So this is working. Okay, and I also removed, if you remove, so I removed this comma, right? Because if you're familiar with JSON structure, the last value will not have comma. So people will do a mistake here. That's why I'm telling this, that they'll remove this part, but they will forget to remove this comma. And now your question that if you're giving a plain and we are not specifying the type, okay, then will it throw an error or not? So I'll remove this. It will throw, right? So it is throwing and it is giving that plain required key type not found. Okay. So this completes our API spec designing.
Can you go to that data type definition?
Yeah.
So here you specify the type object. So does it not have a name of that type?
Name of the type means this one you're saying?
Yeah.
This is
See
object
here,
type. We can define other also, string, like kind of string or integer. This whole thing is one object. Yeah, I understood that you want to say name what it is type, right?
yeah.
So
Usually we specify type name, right?
Yeah. But what we are doing is we are defining it in the file only. Okay.
Okay.
That is how we are.
So we can say that the name of this type is American flight data type.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So within that we specify another type, which is a plain. That is also an object. Okay. Now I got it.
Yeah. Okay.
So can we define multiple data types inside one single RAML file? Like we have one for flight type, right? For example, I want to define the hotel. So is it possible to define the hotel under the same file, or we have to define a separate file?
I don't think so. Like we don't use that method. Like we use it in this way. And again, it's because of the reusability. I think that's why they are restricting us.
Okay. So it is better to define one data type in one
data
file.
type. Why? Because see, if you define the hotel, a flight, and many other things in one place here, then if I want to just some new developer comes and he just want to get the flight data types, and it can be difficult for him, right, to go. So that is why just breaking the data types in pieces, and that is what called the fragments.
Okay.
So
if I have to define a hotel data type, I need to define it as a new RAML file.
Right. And it will be more readable, right? If you have one American flight, you will know that it has only one data type I'm using.
Yeah.
So now if you want to just have any doubt in this thing, because we have pretty much done with it, we will not have many more things coming in API specs. This is the basics, and this covers like most of the things. And For more things, like more advanced thing, you can gradually learn later. But for now, I think this is enough. So this completes the API spec. Okay. So we can see everything, flights, get, post, and get method. Now we will publish, we'll go back to the slides once, what we have. So yeah. So we use the modularizing APIs. This means that we can define this data types, examples, we already did, traits, resource types, etc. can be reused. So I have shown you the data types in example. Traits is also like similar kind of thing that you can use the method, and like the whole API you can use as a trait, and you can use. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Then the resource types you can use. These all are the same thing. So this is the basic of it. And from where it can be used, it in a different files and folders within a project, like in the files and folders I was using. We can also get it from a different design center. So I was designing the API one, right? API, American Flights API. Suppose someone has designed another different flight API, I can refer there also. We just have to provide
you can use the same file. Okay.
Exactly.
Either he can use the RAML file that we built, or he can refer that example file also, right? It's same way.
Yeah.
So once you publish it, and then he will be able to, the other person will be able to use the same API for building some other Air India or something like that.
Yes. And the third method is separate RAML fragment in Exchange. So people will just post some RAML files in Exchange, like this example folder or something, which we already saw, like we imported it from Exchange, right?
Yeah.
So these three things, this is called modularizing your APIs. Then we completed this walkthrough where we use add request and response details in RAML. So this is completed. We also tested an API get example response. All these things are done. Now, the next is engaging users during an API design phase. So once you have defined your and designed your API, we have to send it to users or the business to just check and give us the feedback. So this is the feedback stage. We have designed, we have simulated. Now comes the feedback stage. So how we can do is, there are two methods in which we can do is, one is the private exchange for internal developers. Like for the like if you're working in the same company, so we'll have that access to our group, our business group. So that is how Mule gives access, that you define the business group, and then you add users to that business group. But we'll not be able to add some external developers which are not belonging to our company, and if they want to just check that API and do simulation. So for that purpose, we have a public portal also for external developers. So we will go through these two things in the next slides. So this is how publishing RAML API to Exchange. So this is a slide talking about that how we will publish. I will show you the actual hands-on. Okay. So we'll go back to our design part. So it is quite obvious that there's a publish on the right side. Okay. So we will just do a publish, and then we'll do a publish to Exchange.
So this is where you will mention whether it is for private or public, right?
Yeah. Not now. Now, whenever we are publishing it, it will go to our business group only. Okay, it will not explicitly ask us to where is it public or private. It will not ask that. See, you can just give the business group ID, and this is my business group ID. So it will publish here only. If you have some other, then you can choose onto business IDs. So because it's safer, right? You should not keep your resource public. That if you have AWS, they have that least privilege policy, that everything is not public for anything, right? So that is the model they are using, that it should not be public. You have to explicitly design it. So we'll just give a version. Asset version is 1.00, and that API version is V1. Okay. And this table development, it's not that simple thing that it's just a table and you're not developing it. Then business group ID is the ID of the business which you are a part of in design center. Asset ID remains the same, American Flights API 2, and asset name is this one, American Flights API 2. So this will come into picture, these two things, asset ID and asset name, when you are deploying it in Cloud Hub. So when you are using a CI/CD approach of deployment, so they require like Jenkins and all these things, they require these values. So right
Can
now
we change the asset ID and the name here or not possible?
you can change here like this. Anything
But
you
it
can write.
is nothing to do with the RAML file name, right?
No, it will not. We can change, but it's a like best practice is to keep the same name and continue,
Okay.
because there are a few examples in my project where we have different name and there are many confusions on that. And once we do it, publish it to Exchange and it is deployed to API, then it becomes a difficult part to just change the name.
Yeah.
So that's why we will just publish it like this, publish to Exchange. So our name is American Flights API 2. In the previous other training sessions, I have defined one more American Flights API 1 and American Flights. So you'll be able to see those also. So it says successfully published to Exchange. We'll just open the Exchange. Okay. So we are in Exchange and I'll again go back to Exchange. So it is directly taking us to our API spec, but I'll show you how Exchange looks.
So this will show all the available APIs.
Yeah, all the built APIs which we have posted. Okay. So this is the Exchange main window. These are from different, like same thing, but I have done for different training. So that is why it is showing up. So we will, and as you can see the training, this is the master, this is provided by MuleSoft. So it is by default showing our window. If I go to provided by MuleSoft, it will show, this is kind of Play Store where we have everything, right?
But can we also verify what they have done on these APIs?
Yeah, so these are not APIs. If you see, these are connectors. They're different in connectors and APIs. If you see the REST APIs, these are the REST APIs.
Okay. So we
can
can
see, so yeah, we can see. You can see. So this is the ping endpoint you can get, and you can just view what it is asking. Then go send, but it will have username and password. I think without also it should work. Yeah, it is requiring username and password.
So we cannot really see the RAML file which has been used to
see the RAML file, I believe. Let me check if we have the RAML file here. Normally we can see, but let me just check.
There is one specification with the 3 dots. I don't know what it is.
This is not the base. Normally we don't get it from here, so I think that's why it's just showing the what you say, the endpoints only. I'm not sure on that.
Probably,
like we have
probably if you download, there is a download option. Probably if you download it.
Yeah, then I think we can add and then can see.
Okay.
Then we can see. We can do that in later part, and I'll tell you like if it is
you
possible.
have a view code also
in this one.
I just want to see.
Okay. So yeah, they have this. The RAML
file.
So they have defined data type, examples, and these are the exchange modules which you're taking. And this is the main RAML. So you type normally description.
But here, have they used the indentation here? It doesn't look like.
Yeah, they have used, right? So if you see, this is the main resource. Forget about this. These are uses other things. Type on its type. Code request. This is secure property, which I was telling that you can secure it. So ping get method. Then again, there is one more resource called policy. So one resource, another resource, the query parameters. Okay, and for the query parameters, they are defining the description also. That what does it mean? Then see this under the policy, they have
policy ID.
Policy
Individual
ID.
policy.
Yes, yes. That what policy ID. So this is coming under the nested resource. Then again, they are going out with quotes. This is another thing.
We'll have port ID also.
Yeah. So get, post, everything is there.
Yeah, now I got a complete idea how the whole
So
thing
this looks right. The only few things are not we have implemented. Otherwise, it looks quite the same. There, it's not like that you have to add few more logic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So come back to our exchange. So just be aware that these are which are provided by MuleSoft. If you go to this connector and if you think this is let's say an API, so this is not an API, this is connector. So this is different.
Some documentation.
Yeah. So it's like in our API, I'll show you like in the implementation part that what the connector and how it is different from an API. So training will come back to our API and we'll just open this and I can flights API 2. And now you will be seeing manage versions. It's V1, it is private and it's 1.0.x. So it is the latest version. And if you see, we don't have done like any documentations here, right? So for a best practice, follow the best practice, we have to add the documentation part. So not to waste time, I'll already have this copy pasted here from the training site. So I'll just add this. This is a basic thing, just a basic way, like what our flight is doing. Okay. Just
so what is the API doing?
Yeah, just a basic way. And you can also format how the text looks. There's a visual here. So now it will look like this, and we can just do. Suppose I want to do this a bold. I'll do this bold and this training database as italic. I'll do it as italic. Then these are the methods. So what I'll do is I'll give it a numbers or just a second.
You can also type in the document, right?
Yeah, I can type. You can do anything on this thing. There's no issues.
So
just to save time, I'm doing this.
Okay.
So we don't waste time on the typing part. So it's simple, like just a visualization tool, nothing more. So I will give bullet points here. And that's all. And I'll just change, you can change the header away how it looks. So there are heading 4, I can use anything, heading 3, heading 2, or whatever I feel like, okay. And then I'll see a visual that how it is actually looking. Okay. So this is one basic thing. And now what I will do is I'll publish this again because I've done a few modifications, right, of the summary. So I'll publish, save it, and then publish. So this is how now my new API will look. So if I go back to Exchange again, come back to API 2. So now we have this get all flights. I missed one thing. So we can just change it and do accordingly the way we want. Okay. And also, so this portal is like it's giving me all the like edit options, right? Because I'm the admin for this one. That's why it is giving me the edit options. But if I share with different people, it will not give me edit option. So I'll show you how it is happening. And also we have, so previously we were working in Design Center, right? Here in Design Center. So this had all the consoles and everything. So in Exchange also they have provided the console. So it makes sense, right? That if someone is viewing your API in Exchange, like we were doing right now, we were just checking that Salesforce API, right? So it has given that option to do get. So we can
You can
just
do a
send,
quick testing
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So the users, the business will come and just see that what it is. So it's a code example and the body output is giving like this. And if you send SFO and whatever, we will get a output. So this is for get method, and then post method. If you come and see that this is a body which we are providing, so the business will say, no, I don't want this plain type, just remove it. So they will tell us and we can just make changes and then we can see. Okay. So this functionality is also provided in Exchange, the console property. Okay, so what we will do is we will now share this API. Okay, so before sharing, I want to add one more logic. I want to add one more logic for delete. Let me just, yeah. So to show it in a quick way, that this is an important part. Why? Because once this is the first time you have published API, right? And it was 1.0.0. If we have any changes, like in Exchange, we went to Exchange and the business said that's okay, we have get post, we have get ID also. We want one more functionality which will delete the flights. So in that
Okay.
case, what you will do? You will come back to your designer and in designer where you have to give the delete purpose, they will tell that it should be under get ID or delete ID. So if you see, we can't delete, we can't use the delete method under this resource, under the flights resource. Why?
Yeah.
Because if you
It will
do
delete
all the
everything.
flights, yeah, yeah. So that's why it will make more sense if we do it here in this part. So I have to be correct with indentation. So this is indentation. This will this can take like create some issues when you're doing it, pasting it. So just make sure of the indentation that the delete method, this is method, so it should be same in the get method. So what we are doing in delete
Get
is
method of the flight, right?
ID, flight
Or
ID.
oh, okay.
Because if you do
So
it under
we are
the flight, it will delete everything, right?
yeah, yeah.
But we want to delete a specific flight. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So we are not bothered about like all the things of example and responses. We just for sake of doing the publish new feature, I'm just doing it. So this is the only thing which we are giving, that we will, whenever we push a delete, it will show this message that flight deleted, but not really. Okay.
But we actually delete based on the ID, right?
Exactly.
So
We do it.
since we are mentioning this under ID, automatically whatever the ID you are passing, that is
Taking.
so how it will, or you will, so how will you specify it has to be deleted or not?
Yeah, so that we will see in implementation, not here. We just want to see a new functionality. I'm understanding your point that you want to see the delete functionality, but that is not really important here. That delete functionality, we will add all those things, that ID, and under that we can give. So I'll tell you what is happening here. If you go to Arc, you have this get method, right? And under the get
Mhm.
method, you are giving an ID of 10. So you will get the flights. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll get the flights. I have not configured, so that's why I'm not able to get anything. You'll get, but as soon as
So
you
if I
do a
change it to
delete,
delete, okay.
yeah, it will delete that
So
flight.
it's
Yeah,
okay, okay.
so that's what I was not showing it
Oh,
to you
okay,
right
okay.
now, because we're
Yeah.
not like bothered much about that. We just want to do this and publish. So you will publish it to Exchange because this is added functionality. Okay. Before doing that, we should just also check that if it is working fine or not. We'll go to delete and try it. Value and then send. So it is working as expected, flight deleted, but not really. Okay. So we will publish now. And this time we have to,
Increase the version, right?
yes, yes.
So we
FF
cannot
version.
overwrite the
So
version.
yeah, see, this is automatically taking, I'm not changing it. I did not change. So the number of publish from your design center will increase this. So it has, I'm not sure that how it is taking that when it is changing to 1.1.1, I have not explored that part, but it will change. The version will change from 0 to 01 like that. Okay. And this things remains the same, the this IDs and everything. And we can just click publish to exchange. So that is done. Go to exchange. Okay, so now we can see that flights has get and post and ID has get and delete. Okay, so this is, and the version is latest 1.0.1. Okay, so this is how you do a API lifecycle for API spec. So whenever you want to do, you can add. Now comes the picture that how we can do it with external developer. So you can just share it. And if you want to share with your team, there are collaborators, you can add their username. Okay, I'm the admin, so I'm able to see all the edit purpose. Maybe they will not be able to see the edit things if I add the username, if they are from my team who have access to this thing. But if there are people who are not having access to my business group, then in that case, I'll be sharing it to public. Publish is on the public portal. Okay, so just check the API version and then save. So this is how simple it is. So it is shared in our public portal. Now to access that public portal, we'll just go to here and we have an option in the exchange that is a public portal. Okay. You can click that public portal and you can see. So this is the public portal. And as I'm an admin, I'm still able to customize this. So if I press a customize button, I can customize all the things which I see here. The logo, the background. This is a different part. I'm just showing it to you once. That this also things we can do it and like up can give our organization name and all the things like that. So what user will see, other people will see, we can just configure. That is why it has given the customized part. But this is not the URL which the external developer will be, external user will be seeing. Okay. So I'll just, because I have logged in one from my ID, that is why I'm able to customize and do it. If I open a new tab and paste that URL, let's see the difference. So I can see the same thing, but I'm not able to customize anything, right? I have to log in from my user and just check this American Flights API too. I'm able to check everything, right? But I'm not able to do any modifications.
So this is just user testing.
Yes, yes. A business feedback, you can say that what the business is saying, or the external, suppose there is another team which wants our data and they want to see how the response is coming. So for that, we use this method, a public portal method.
Okay.
So this completes the module 3.
But see, you will be providing the URL only, right? To the
Yeah, we can provide the URL. Yeah, we have to provide that URL. Then only they will be able to see. So in different projects, different way they are using. It can be they will be adding the user to here, or they will just do a call and then they will show. It depends totally on the business how they want. Many people are still not confident to share the URL. So many people are just doing a call with the QA team and then showing that this is how the response will, like that. So it totally depends. Okay, so we'll go back to our slides and see if we have anything more to cover. So sharing our API is done. We shared in our private exchange. Sharing an API in public portal, customizing the public portal. I showed you that if you want, you can do it, but it's not that important. It's a simple user interface. Then coming to the summary, what is RAML? What is API designer? We saw that we can define our API spec in RAML. Then the API console. So we saw the console in two places. One is the design center, another is the exchange. And mocking service is that which we already saw last time, that it will just a URL. So make an API discoverable by adding it to your private exchange. So that is how you make your API discoverable to the other developers. API portals already like automatically creates documentation. And yes, all these things I think we have already covered, that can be shared to private exchange and all things. So for more things, like if you want to check, you can check the training.mulesoft.com, or that website, there's a raml.org. You can visit this also.
So the RAML is developed by a different software vendor, or it is developed by
I think it's developed by some other vendor, but I'm not very sure on that. I'll have to check that.
But MuleSoft is using that.
MuleSoft is using, yeah. MuleSoft is using RAML, and then we can use other also like Swagger. Many people use Swagger, but I have not used any time that Swagger. Like most of the project which I have seen, they use RAML only. Because it's MuleSoft recommended it, so maybe that's why. So let's do the quiz part quickly. And I think I do not need to help you on this quiz part. You will be able to figure out the questions. But still, let's walk through the quiz. Okay. So this question, it's asking. So this is important. This comes important only when you are like sitting for the certification. And I will highly recommend you, if you are going through this our session of that 30 to 40 hour session, you will be easily able to clear the certification. And it has a lot of value right now. So best is to sit for certification after you complete and get the certification. Okay. So these questions are all taken from that tutorial section of training, and most of the questions are repeated in the certification exam. So okay, let's just focus on the questions also. That's what I meant. So like, are you looking for the certification or just the training part?
I will also be interested finishing the certification.
Okay.
Because Prasad told me that getting the MCD is much more valuable than just learning.
Exactly. So, that's what.
I'm not sure whether it is free of cost or chargeable, but
so I think previously when I was giving it was free of cost. But right now I'm not sure that they have changed it or not, but they're asking or not. So maybe like you can like, I think from organization perspective, they are pushing to complete the certification. So even they are rewarding many organizations, which I have, like my students and who I'm teaching, they are getting rewards like 5,000, 10,000 like rewards when they complete the certification. Okay, so they are pushing to.
Yes, there is no such thing.
Okay. So,
it is purely personal interest, but if you have a certification, then it is kind of value added to your profile.
That will definitely. And for MuleSoft, I think it's, as it is backed by Salesforce, so it has got like very popular. And in India, like people are like very crazy about MuleSoft developers right now. So yeah. So we'll see this question. So this question asks, what is the correct URL to submit GET request for patients? So a simple question. It has given a RAML spec. So RAML 1.0 title is the title, whatever you can give.
I think
the base
answer C, right?
Answer C. So why answer C? That's what I just want to know.
Because it is under API folder.
Yeah. So this is the base URI. Okay, we have defined the base URI.
Base URI. I was thinking it's a base URL. So that is
the same thing. URL and URI, the same thing. We defined base URI, and then we can go. So this is the base URI till API, and then we have a method, a resource, which is patients / patients. And then as it is a query parameter, that's why I told you it should be a question mark and that year. Because year is the thing and the type is integer, and then it is giving. Okay, so this is just example 2017, but we can give anything, right? That is why the question's answer C is the correct answer. So C is the correct answer. Coming to this next question, it's very easy one. An API has been created in Design Center. What is the next step to make the API discoverable? So publish to API endpoint exchange. Enable auto discovery.
A, right? Publish
Yeah,
the
yeah,
API to
yeah,
API.
yeah, exactly. That's what we did, right? So A is the correct answer. And if you see that this is very easy question, so but this questions comes in the exam, this kind of questions. So you have like
It will come or it won't come.
it can come, it can come.
Oh,
It's not like there's just a practice question which I have created. This is as you can see as a screenshot from that training portal, and this questions comes, these type of questions. So third question is our RAML example fragment named bank account example.raml. So this is an example is placed in the example folder in an API specification project. So we have an bank account example.raml in example folders. What is the correct syntax to reference this fragment? So
include, we need to use include.
First we will delete this part because we didn't see that hash is there, right? So option A and D are eliminated.
B.
B and C. So we'll see which one. So B is correct because it is include an example. So simply examples are not there, right?
Yeah.
Because it is under the example folder. So this is what people will miss. It is under the example folder. If you do it, it will throw an error. It will not be able to see the correct path. So B is the correct answer. The next question is this one. So there is an error in the flight ID. Okay, this is the flight ID. There is an error in the, when you are designing an API spec, we are getting an error. What we have to do to fix this problem?
What needs to be done to fix the problem?
So we'll start from the starting that we have RAML version is correct, title is correct. This is the first resource, flight ID resource, that is correct. Under that we have get, that is correct. Okay. So what we need to do? Again, if you see, this is a nested resource, right?
Yeah.
This is also correct. We can keep under this. But where this get method is placed, can you see? Is it right?
I think C, I believe, out and indent or C. Answer C.
Answer C. Okay. So it is saying outdent the flight ID resource. Okay.
Oh.
So outdent means it will come here, right? If you come here, outdent it the flight ID resource.
Yeah.
So that will not solve our problem. Why? Because then it will not be a nested resource if we do it here. So instead of that, what we will do is we will place the get resources under this. Correct, that
Then
makes sense, right?
B, yeah.
Yeah, so this is correct answer is B. If we outdent it, then it will not work.
Yeah.
Correct. This is the correct answer. So that finishes our quiz. So you can expect this kind of questions around, like there are four to five questions which we covered. Easily you'll be able to get 1 or 2 questions from this easily. So we are done with our module 3. So total we have 13 modules. So we have covered 3 modules in 5 sessions, right?
Yeah.
And another 8 modules are there, which will we will talk about the implementation. Now the web application is completed. Now we will totally move to IDE. So we will go step by step. We have developed the API specification. Next is we will do implementation of this, that exactly how it will work in real time. And then we will deploy this to a Cloud Hub worker, an Amazon EC2 instance, okay, in the coming lectures. Okay.
So
okay,
we saw many connectors, right? So
yeah.
We will be using any of the connector in our example, right?
Yeah, we will be using the core connector, not that Salesforce connector. I think it's paid or something like that, or maybe something. So we don't have that. Don't have to use that connectors. We can use the database connector. I think we'll be able to use the database connectors to get the data from SQL. So this flight details, whatever we saw now, we were providing the example for it, right? So we will have this value stored for American flights in database. So we will use that
Okay.
MySQL database and we'll get the flights, all the flights.
Oh, okay. So we will be just using the database connector.
Yeah, in the future, I think we have more connectors, but the next session we will be focusing more on the database connector.
Okay.
Okay, and that the things which you saw, that Amazon S3 and there are very advanced features which will not be covered in the MCD. It is more of a MCPA or MCIA kind of certification level if you're looking for that. Okay.
The last class there was a lady or somebody asked some kind of certification.
MCPA, yeah. Platform
what is
architect.
that?
So it is the platform architect. Now in the API, I'll show you. Let me go to that portal. So this is our design center, right? So what we are doing is we are individually posting one American flight API, and we are deploying it and doing things as a developer point of view. But if you complete the MCPA certification, normally the developers who have like 2 years or 3 years experience, they prefer to do this certification. So it will give you more access to this web application, web page, all the more functionality. So you will be able to set up this for your organization. I did not show you that how you will be able to set up for your organization, that where the things. So that comes in for that picture, like a runtime manager, policies, new kind of policies.
Like more like managing the
platform architect, more of this. People for fun, they will do like after 6 months or 1 year of MCD also. But from my point of view, it will not help you in any ways, because you'll have to have 2 years, 3 years of experience of an MCD. Then it's preferred to get MCP or MCIM. But just for sake of certification, it's not recommended.
Okay. So you said we will be covering the database connection part, right?
Yes.
So suppose if I want to connect to the Salesforce or Oracle database, I'm Oracle Cloud platform or whatever the platform, the process is going to be same, right? Whatever we do for database, that is going to be same. We may be using a different connector, the different credential or different payload or whatever, but the process is same, right? Hello?
Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're saying something about that?
No, you said that we will be using the database, MySQL database connection to do the flight, those things, right?
Yeah.
And we saw several connectors like Salesforce, Oracle, SAP, all those things.
Yeah.
So the process will be same, like how we are going to do that in database connector.
Exactly, it will be same. It will be same.
Okay. Only difference will be like if I want to connect to a Salesforce, I may have to use a Salesforce credential.
Correct.
And if I have to use some other connector, then I will have to use that credential and whatever the basic configuration that is needed for that, right?
Yes, I'll show you that also, like just to give me a second, that how it looks. So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
So this is our listener, okay, where we'll be calling to get the flight, and this is the database for flights, all flights, you can see, right? So what we are doing is we are getting a select star from all flights from this table. So it will give a response, and then we will store, and then we will show it. Suppose some other flight is there who is storing their flight details in Salesforce. So instead of database, we will just drag and drop a Salesforce connector here.
Yeah.
And it totally depends on the Salesforce team. Like some Salesforce team will ask that you have to do it from this way and that way. So they will tell you all the details that you can use
Okay.
this one. You don't have to worry about that, the endpoint system. As a developer,
Okay.
you'll be worried about the integrating, and they will provide all the details. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So any other questions, Ram, or?
I think I'm okay for now.
Mhm. Okay. So we'll wind up today's session, and
Yeah.
from tomorrow, like you said, at what time exactly?
Your time, morning time, 10:30.
10:30. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, which is 10 p.m. for me.
10 p.m. So it will be okay for you for 2 hours or 2.5 hour session in the night.
Yeah, that is absolutely fine with me.
Okay.
I always, I'm kind of night owl kind of things. I
Okay.
always, I go to bed every day, 3 a.m. or 4 a.m.
Okay.